Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. I want to add, actually Chris and I want to add our welcome to those who have already welcomed you here a number of times. Thank you so much for making the trek to beautiful Boulder. We couldn't be more thrilled to be here with you. We've got an action-packed agenda. It's a great event that the team has put together for you. I especially love, as others have said, to hear how you folks, our customers, are using our solution. Invariably, you'll tell a story about things that are going on in your organization and we'll say, "You're doing what?" You know, one of those. That's actually really fun for us. So Chris and I have the honor of introducing our latest release, Adept 2019, to you. And before I do that, however, and before I even introduce myself, there are a couple of things. I took some notes from Mike's, from the previous presentation. I just wanted to say that stacking different file types in a rev tree, that's something you folks can look forward to in the future. So latest, next major version. Just a little preemptive thing. Not in 2019, but in the next major version. I also want to take a moment to say that what Chris and I are here and have the pleasure of sharing with you today is really made possible by an amazing team of people, some of whom who are here, most of whom are not. With us today on the software development and release organization side are some folks that I want you all to feel comfortable. I want you all to feel comfortable speaking to my colleagues who are here. We've got Paul Legowski, our software development manager.
Stand up.
Stand up. Oh yeah, stand up, please. Paul's been with us umpteen years. He was actually an intern and then came directly to Synergis out of college. That's how long he's been here. We've gotten a chance to see his family grow. He's got 3 beautiful boys, et cetera, et cetera. But also here is Charlie Smith. He's just relocated to Arizona. He was our quality assurance manager for many years. He's now product owner of application development, as many of you have had the opportunity to work with him. Steve Ackerman, our quality assurance manager. There's Steve. Steve actually straddles the fence. He has product owner duties. And he is a fearless QA manager as well. We have the venerated Joe Gasper, senior product manager, whom many of you know. And we have Juan Matute with us from engineering. He's a senior web developer in our organization. He is often referred to, when we have questions or something needs fixing, we often refer to him as 911. He's the guy you definitely want to call. So I wanted you to see the team, and I want you to feel really comfortable about approaching them, asking them questions. If they're at a stand-up table kind of together, just go and break them up, and they'll be glad to talk to you. All right. Many of you, I've had the great good fortune of meeting many of you in the past. My name's Todd Cummings. I'm Vice President of Research and Development. And I've had the amazing honor of working at Synergis since October '89, actually. So quite some time. I consider myself a TLA veteran, 3-letter acronym veteran. So every 3-letter acronym that describes what we do that the marketing folks have been able to come up with, I've survived them all so far. I think I have a few more TLAs in me, but we'll see how that goes. It's one of my first job descriptions, or one of my first titles at Synergis was software evangelist. And I consider myself to be an evangelist, a tech evangelist, a strategy evangelist. And so please, if you have questions or great ideas, be sure to tap me on the shoulder. Let's have a chat about them. And I'm also a people advocate, because at the end of the day, I really believe that At the end of the day, when people walk out and go home, Synergis has kind of left the building. We are who we are and what we are because of our amazing people. And I want to give a shout out to the folks back, our engineering and quality assurance and our product management folks who are back at the office who couldn't be here today. We thank you for your efforts.
Hi, my name is Chris Fabry, and I've been with Synergis for quite a while now. I've also had the pleasure of having multiple roles. You may have seen a kind of a tradition with a few people. It doesn't mean we can't hold the job down. It just means we get different interests. I'm now presently your customer advocate.
Great. 2019 is actually officially here. Now, before you hop on your laptop and hit refresh on the customer portal, let me tell you, you won't see it there yet, right? Breathe in the beautiful Colorado air. It's not available yet, but it will be. I think we agreed, Steve, that this Friday, the 4th, was when we'd make it available. So we're going to talk about it. I know you're all going to be really interested to download it and check it out. Bear with us. On Friday, it's ready. It's actually ready now. We'll post it on Friday when we get back to the office. So there's some key ideas about 2019 that I want to share with you today. I want to help you get inside it a little bit so you can make good decisions about how quickly to adopt 2019. A big concept of Adept 2019 is we've enhanced security. We've increased Adept's security profile for your organization. How many folks here are IT focused? Okay. Keep your hands up for a second. IT focused. How many are also Adept administrators? How many Adept administrators? Okay, good. So I'm going to get into the specifics about what that looks like, but the security profile has been enhanced. We also now support single sign-on, enterprise single sign-on. We think that's a great thing, and we've had some assistance with customers testing it in the field in early versions. It's working very well. So if you have single sign-on initiatives in your organization, Adept 2019 will support that along with your enterprise. Also in support of Adept Everywhere, we've enhanced Adept Creator and the new CAD integrations, what we call the task panes, to help you conform to more of the business processes and the workflow processes that you've already implemented, good data management practices, and we'll certainly talk about what those are. Adept 2019 supports SOLIDWORKS 2019. And there have been some workflow administration enhancements and also some performance enhancements that we want to tell you about. And we'll show you some graphs about how performance has improved in 2019. That is, by the way, one of your consistent #1 features is how to enhance performance. Based on the customer questionnaire that we sent out in advance, thank you for those of you who filled it out, we find that roughly half of you folks, perhaps a little less, are on current versions of the software. So if performance is something that you're interested in, if it's something that your users are encouraging you to let us know about, Adept 2019 could really be for you. Now, in keeping with our theme here, Adept is undergoing a transformation. It's undergoing a big transformation. And those of you who have been here the past couple of years will have heard me and others talk about this transformation. The current strategy that we're in the process of executing really started, our first release of execution in this strategy started with Adept 2017. And I understand this is a little bit of an eye chart. It's meant to sort of illustrate a journey rather than be legible. 2018 was the second major milestone in the strategy, and here we are at 2019. So I'm going to tell you exactly what that means, but understand the concept that what Kristen shared about transforming and us really taking that to heart is absolutely true. This has been our major work for the past couple of major releases. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the roadmap. That's what we know is going to happen. I'm also, by the way, going to talk to you, our team, Joe and Steve, are going to talk to you and share some results of the feedback that you provided us prior to the event. There's also a segment of what we're going to do tomorrow morning called Adept Labs. Can I have a show of hands of anybody who is considering not attending Adept Labs tomorrow? Put you on the spot. Good, that's what I like to see. If you had a fleeting thought, I'm not gonna attend that session, please reconsider. We definitely want you to attend that. So during the roadmap, I'm going to talk about the different buckets, the different sort of strategic initiatives that we think of when we put a release together. Releasing software is a little bit of an alchemy, and there are a lot of things that have to go into that. So 2019 specifically touches on user experience. It certainly touches on performance and stability. It touches on security. We've made a big deposit, a big investment in security with this release. And we've also, with the CAD integration updates, we've made a big investment in CAD integration and support as well. This all kind of sums up to the latest and greatest initiatives in your organization to really leverage your digital assets and to help your organizations become more effective and efficient moving forward. That's why we do what we do, and we're really committed to providing you the tools to help you stay abreast of those initiatives. Let's talk a little bit about security. I think we all understand intellectually that the stakes in enterprise security are high. I know that you're going to hear from some customers who have had some of these sort of malicious security issues occur in their organization, right? So all of us are concerned about our data integrity and the protection of our IP. Ransomware is a real thing. We've had a number of customers who have been severely impacted by ransomware attacks. Email-borne viruses, right? Phishing attacks. We understand. IT is encouraging all of us to be more and more vigilant, right? So since this is the case, 2019 provides enhanced security. We've implemented a capability we call SSL Everywhere. And what this really means is that data in encryption data in transit is encrypted in the solution between every single component. That's both database traffic and its documents in transit. Okay? That's a big upgrade. And I'll show you exactly where the previous generation of the solution was in relation to where we are today. And interestingly, that's both on the Adept website, where you would expect it to be, but it's also on the native side of the solution. Increasingly, we have customers coming to us and asking us to allow the desktop client traffic behind the firewall to be encrypted. That's the stakes in enterprise security today. Okay? So what I hope this shows you is that before Adept 2019, you can see there's sort of red and green lines here. The green lines are those lines, and they're predominantly, you'll notice, on the right side of the diagram. The green lines are those lines which could be secured. So SSL, HTTPS, these lines of communication could be encrypted prior to the Adept 2019 release. The red lines, which are largely, but not only on the left side of the diagram, they are the areas that we did not support encryption. Now, critically, I think a very critical area of this capability, SSL Everywhere, is that we have, everybody understands, or many will understand, that we have had a secure type of vaulting. FTP vaulting can be secured today, has been able to be secured in the past. However, our own AFS vaulting, which stands for Adept File System, that did not provide a secure document transfer mechanism. And many of our customers are using that for replication between multiple sites. You might be interested to know, and I'm stealing a little bit of thunder perhaps from Joe and Steve's presentation tomorrow, the customer with the largest amount of satellites, replicated satellites, actually has 38 satellites, if you can imagine. That's quite a few, right? So after 2019, notice that all of the areas that were in red before are now not only green, but have this nifty little shield that pops up, indicating that these aspects of communication are now also SSL enabled. Now, it's a configuration choice, right? It's not on by default. If your company would like to enable it, if your company wants that level of protection inside, outside the firewall, or perhaps your company wants to expose access to the Adept web client through the firewall for the first time. These are all things that are going to be really, really important for you to understand about the capabilities of 2019 moving forward. I think one of the important pieces is from the web client outside the firewall, Adept Creator now supports check-in, check-out over with an encrypted socket. That's critical. We didn't do that in 2018 and earlier. I think another critical thing is that we have made it so that deploying the web client over SSL is easier than it was before. So let's say you have the web client deployed and it's currently over SSL. That configuration took a little time and effort. And specifically what happened was there were two different ports that needed to be opened through the firewall. And those of you who have been through that understand IT is usually reticent to open another port through the firewall, right? They want a single port, which is commonly referred to as 443. They want that open. That's where IT spends their time and focus and energy making secure transmission inside and outside. Now with Adept 2019, all the communications for the web client go over a single port. That's going to make IT super happy, and it's going to make it that much easier for you folks to make the decision to truly extend Adept everywhere, including outside the firewall if you so desire. Final thought on security. I've spent a little time here, but I wanted to provide you the background information of what was and what was not secure. Yeah, I'll come back to that. We'll keep going. Okay, so we're clear there now. Everybody know what single sign-on is? Show of hands. Yeah. We're used to single sign-on from the web, right? We create a Facebook identity, we create a Google identity, and so on and so forth. Now, it's true that some companies, generally smaller to perhaps even medium-sized companies, will use those, on occasion, will use Office 365 credentials to validate identity. But oftentimes, enterprises have enterprise-grade, dedicated identity providers. And there are a few things that IT seems to like about these things. We use them internally at Synergis for connection to some of our apps outside the firewall. Two of the most important things about single sign-on is that you have one user ID and one password. And in an enterprise world, that data is stored usually behind the firewall. Not always, but usual. So that's tremendous for IT. It's also tremendous for us users, right? I mean, if I'm honest, I would say that I'm resetting a password a week for some service or some shopping site that I'm on the web. Having a single source of identity and having a single password, complex password to remember, is really super helpful, right? So single sign-on is now supported. And it doesn't look exactly like this, but the nature of logging into the solution changes a little bit. With single sign-on enabled, the standard out-of-the-box, in the desktop client, the standard out-of-the-box login dialog goes away. The login point is actually your enterprise's single sign-on portal. So it's interesting. It changes a little bit, but again, once users are logged into the enterprise portal, they come in the morning, they double-click the desktop client, up comes Adept, the login dialog is never even seen. It's just automatically authenticated. It's pretty cool. So if you hear that there are single sign-on initiatives in your organization, and this is something that your company wants to support to increase its security profile, you now understand that Adept 2019 will support you in that initiative. Okay. We talked about that. We'll move on. Another important initiative for us is this concept of Adept Everywhere. So part of the transformation of Adept over the past couple of years is moving all of the tried and true and cool capabilities that you folks have used in some cases for a decade or more. We're expanding our ability to provide that capability using the browser as a front end for your users. Now, the interesting thing about our desktop and our Adept Explorer, Reviewer, and Creator is that the interfaces, the way that people interact with the software is different, right? They're not exactly the same. In fact, when we developed the web browser clients, we gave ourselves the permission to not duplicate every pick and click. And we did that because we understand that in addition to our own transformation, there's a transformation going on in your companies as well. And I thought it was really interesting, it was alluded to this morning. There are those of us like myself who've been around for literally decades, right? And then we have the younger generation, the new folks who are coming in behind us. It's sometimes the old tried and true applications that I'm used to don't always make sense to my colleagues. They like something that's leaner, kind of leaner, cleaner, easier to use, let's say. So we now have this ability to serve those of you who have been using the software forever, but also to address the needs and desires and the needs and desires of the newer generation who are using solutions. And that's really where we've made the investment in the browser clients. Specifically, Creator now supports auto-name. It now supports required fields. It supports publish wave on event, and it supports update document. And critically, the CAD integrations support those as well. So we released Adept Creator last year, and relatively quickly we got feedback from you folks, from customers who said, great, love it, this is going to be super helpful, and we need these other capabilities to help support our good data practices and our internal processes. So we've now added those capabilities to Adept Creator and the task pane. And to help you understand that a little more, I'm going to pass the baton to Chris.
Thanks, Todd. First off, how many of you are using Creator? Okay. How about Reviewer and Explorer? Nice. Last one, task pane. Okay. Very good. So I figured we'd give you guys a short overview of Creator along with some of the new features that Todd just mentioned. So built right into Creator, we have a search bar right at the top. For those of you that are not familiar with this, this enables you to go and search all the fields in a data card rather than opening up the card, picking a specific field, typing in one piece of information. This will search right through all of them in your data card. Right below that, we've got the search card still and your last search. We've also put, as Todd mentioned, the favorites and the saved searches right on the front page. This has been a great advantage for new users. These saved searches and favorites can all be shared amongst users. I've seen some people will create a saved search with somebody's name on it. So when they go and log in, they see their name right on the icon. They click on it, there's all the files that they need, or all the files for a project, without having to dig through all the different subfolders. Also included on here, you can have multiple pages of the saved searches and the favorites. Another quick search on the desktop is also here in the web client. So you've got full text search ability right from within the web client as well. We've got some additional areas down below here. You guys are all familiar with the library browser, the file guide view. In this case, though, I'm showing you a new feature here, update document. So I'm making an edit, and this is a linked attribute in a drawing title block. So by making that edit, you'll see in a moment that that is now being pushed to the documents. This was a really big requirement or request from many of you for the web clients. And again, I want to stress this is also in the CAD integrations. Up at the top, we've got a ribbon menu for searching, a home menu. There's a document menu. You're going to see in a moment, I'm going to use that new command. And then also workflow for those that are reviewer or creator. You've got the ability to participate in workflows. So creating a new document in Creator was a big key part of the first launch of Creator. But you can see here we've added in one of the other additional features, the auto name. So this is using your existing auto name creations that you've got for the desktop. It's just making use of them from the web client, so people will be able to follow that same auto name formats as well as using the proper templates. In this example, I've got, it's actually a change notice. It's an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to my work area here. I'm logged in as Martin, and I'm just going to go and launch the command, to open it. Required fields was another important item for many customers. It's right in the name, it's required. So we really wanted that to be in the web client, and that is the case now. So you can see when I'm about to check in the file, required fields kicks in because I've picked a specific folder or a specific file type. And just like the desktop, it brings it up in the interface and says, hey, you forgot to fill this in. Fill it in right here, or the file stays in your work area. Okay. And let's see here, I think we got, also for those that are not familiar with the web clients, there's also, and this is actually just sending off the workflow email. We also have, you don't have to wash that one, right? Mm-hmm. We also have down below the document dashboard. This is enabling you to be able to see all the related files, all the versions, the audit trail, thumbnail view. I see a lot of people will leave the thumbnail view on as they're clicking on different files. I've got mine set up to auto dismiss when I move away from it. Some people like it up all the time. Adept definitely does perform faster if it doesn't have to show additional information. So leaving it down below is a fast way to do that. So this was really focused on Adept Creator, and I want to stress there's Adept Reviewer, Adept Explore, and the task panes, and it's Creator and the task panes that have these added features. Next up on the list is PublishWave. How many people are using PublishWave? Very nice, very nice. All right, so new in this version of PublishWave is the ability to publish files based on an event, whether it's check-in or whether it's the final approval of a workflow. And that, again, includes the web clients as well. Now, some of you may not have heard about PublishWave. For those that haven't, it's really a great tool to be able to use to output documents on a regular basis. Some people will publish to an Adept library inside of Adept. For example, I may have one library called Released or For My Customers. My CAD drawings are in a different area, my secret documents are in a different area. They can only see that one location. So PublishWave can be keeping that up to date with the latest versions. Or you can be publishing outside of Adept, maybe to an FTP or another location. The automated publishing on event includes sign-in or final approval, as I mentioned just before. The publishing of selecting files on demand is still in the desktop alone right now. But what this is enabling your groups of users to do is access these documents that are standard. Every one of them is being output by the native application, and they're all being output in the same format using the same configuration. So you get a good consistent quality there. So PublishWave, just very, very quickly, if I do check in a file or I do approve a document, it immediately will send that file to an input folder. PublishWave is watching that folder. It grabs the files, it opens them up in the native CAD application, and then it outputs them to those locations, or either outputs an electronic version or a hard copy. We also have publishing back into Adept, as I mentioned before. PublishWave also has a nice side feature called Watch Folder. Anybody using Watch Folders with PublishWave? Very cool. For those of you unfamiliar, you can point PublishWave at any folder on your network, and anytime a file lands in it, it'll grab that file and bring it in, check it into Adept for you. It's a great way for having those non-Adept users participate in adding documents in, or even other systems. You've got an ERP, MRP system that's creating new files. Those can be going to a folder that Adept will then carry in. So a very quick way to kind of interact with other systems. And with that, I'm going to jump to the CAD integration. So we're going to take a peek at this for now in SolidWorks. I'm going to be talking more about other CAD applications a little bit later on during the day. So the task pane now has the ability to go and see, can be configured by each user. So if you're not a CAD user yet, or you're just starting to use the CAD integrations, this is all configurable. Each user can turn on or off which tabs or windows of information that they want to see, so they can kind of cut down the clutter a little bit, streamline it. There's also in SolidWorks an expandable feature. Now right now I'm grabbing it and dragging it manually, and you can see it adapts to the extra space by rearranging. There's also the ability to manually drag those windows or those bars in between to size them the way you want. There's also a really nice feature in the task pane to expand very quickly and go to thinner views. I'm going to be talking a little bit more later on about the task pane integration around 2:45 or so, and we'll cover more of that in at that time frame. And also, just one more time, this also has the ability to create new files. Auto-naming feature and the required fields are all part of the CAD integration as well now. All right. Todd.
Thank you, Chris.
Oops.
Oops. Oh, I'll go back. Another critical capability of 2019 is increased performance. So as I mentioned, it's in the top 3 year over year, top 3 requests for new capabilities is increased performance. What I want to share is that for us, performance is a journey, right? It's not a once and done thing. And so we take this very seriously, and we apply ourselves vigilantly to increasing the performance of the solution as much as we can with each release. So I wanted to show you a little bit about the fruits of those efforts. So what you'll see here is that you can see in orange is the 2019 performance metrics, and the blue is the previous version, 2018 or 2018.1. So everywhere the blue line is longer and the orange line is shorter, you can see we've improved performance, in some cases pretty significantly. Now, this is the desktop client, and we run these tests using a 66-part SolidWorks assembly. So final approve, checkout, check-in, copy, and refresh have all been improved in the desktop client with using our test data set. Let's take a look at the web client now. In some cases, we've made moderate performance improvement, such as final approve, such as checkout, such as check-in. You will notice that these metrics are faster than the desktop client. So the web client in these cases is quicker than the desktop client. Notice, however, that in copy and refresh, we found some ways to make a dramatic improvement in performance. So this will perform, it'll be more responsive and perform that much better for you users in the web client. Let's look at 2019 performance in the CAD integrations. We had a nice improvement in final approve. In checkout, check-in, and copy were about the same, but also in the task pane, we have a massive improvement in refresh time, so F5 hitting and refreshing. So we just wanted to say, we hear you, we understand, and performance is an integral part of every release. There are some other enhancements in 2019. There have been a handful, almost 2 handfuls of workflow administrative enhancements. The details of those are in the update notes. A lot of them center around being able to select multiple things. There's actually some parallelism. We allow now in the desktop client 2 people to edit workflow at the same time. That capacity was not available prior to 2019. You'll notice also latest OSs and Office versions are supported. And of course, with every release, we take a good hard look at issues reported from the field or defects that we're aware of, and we make polishes and other minor enhancements as well. We're really excited about 2019. It dramatically improves the security profile. We feel that with the key capabilities that you folks asked us to include in Creator and the task panes, we're now enabling you to support your good data practices and your business processes. So we'd like to encourage you to try extending Adept. Try give somebody access to Creator that perhaps didn't have access to it before. You may even want to consider granting access through your firewall. It's interesting, for the first time in our history this year, we actually have customers, in addition to the security testing that we do internally. One way that we gauge our security profiles to run what we call penetration tests, or they're commonly referred to as pen tests. We actually have customers doing the same thing. We fare pretty well. We're proud of the effort. So we stand here on the stage with confidence saying, Adept secures your data and documents round trip. So before Chris and I sign off, we want to just ask if you have any questions for us. Yes, sir, in the back. We'll get you a microphone.
Clarence Expadden with Colonial Pipeline in Atlanta, Georgia. So you were talking about Adept Creator and some companies that also use Adept Explorer. Mm-hmm. These new features that you do have in Adept Creator, are they also going to be in Explorer? Because there's certain features like favorites that you can't use in Explorer. There's certain things like saved searches that you don't have in Explorer. As far as 2017 goes, are these going to be in Explorer 2019 as well?
The favorites and saved searches, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. The creation of new files isn't, it's only in Creator, is the ability to create new files, therefore required fields is only in Creator.
Another question, so what about assigning as well? Because that's only on the desktop version. Are you going to be able to assign within Explorer?
You can assign as well.
That's all I need to know.
Yep.
Good.
Yep, good question.
We'll take more easy questions like those, or hard ones too. We're open. We're an equal opportunity question answer. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay.
We'll repeat the question. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. SQL sign-in, how does that work with different data sources? So like at Dow, we have desktop client, we'll have 4 different data sources. So if somebody is in all 4 of those data sources, how does the single sign-in work for that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So 4 different data sources for a single instance of the desktop client, let's say. It doesn't support multiple data sources at this time.
So they would still have to log in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good question.
Good, really good question.
My name is Lorenzo Zan. I'm with Amazon. I was wondering if you guys are you were describing the features you have for SolidWorks. Will you guys be implementing the same thing with Inventor and all the Autodesk products?
Yeah.
Where you can dive in deep to all the
Yeah.
features?
We're going to have a session later this afternoon, and I'm going to talk a little bit more just about the task pane integrations. But yeah, the goal is to be able to do the same throughout all of those. Joe has a training class on Wednesday? Thursday, sorry. That's going to go even further on it. But Joe, do you want to comment on the abilities between SolidWorks versus Inventor and AutoCAD?
No, our objective is to maintain parity in task pane for your benefit and for ours, so that we don't have to write code, for each of the CAD applications. Naturally, there are some subtle differences in how SolidWorks uses configurations, Inventor has iParts, and those things have to be handled. from the standard functionality, update document, required fields, that will be across the board at all times.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I will talk about those things that are the same between SOLIDWORKS, Inventor, and AutoCAD, and then the things that are different. There's not many of them, but there are a few that they behave a little differently.
Question over
Bill?
here, Todd.
Yeah, well,
Oh, I'm sorry.
cool. We'll go Bill first and then over here. Thank you.
Thank you. For the Adept, the web-based Adept Explorer, I just need to clarify something. With the search all field, that literally will search every record in the database, because presently we have multiple site locations with different vaults or servers, and we set up our access to each plant to only look at the contents of that plant using the desktop clients. But if I'm correct, with the Adept web-based version, we cannot segregate it that. It's looking at the whole database presently. Is that correct?
That is correct. We don't have a library filter ability on the web clients at this time. So when somebody is searching, they're searching all fields in that data card for all files that they have access to.
Okay. Thank you.
Did I state that correctly?
Yeah, I think we commonly refer to that capability as library sets, and that's an upcoming feature.
Filters,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Jason Ramsey, North Alabama Fabricating. We have some users that we would love to just have on the web client, but batch updating doesn't seem to be supported through that, which causes us to push them directly to the desktop. Is that looking forward in the roadmap or something that might be addressed in the future?
We didn't enable batch, and yeah. So thanks for asking. Interestingly about this release, that update document piece was one of the most technically difficult capabilities that we put in the software. So we made the decision not to include batch updating in 2019. It will absolutely be included in a subsequent version. Any other questions?
Hi,
Yeah.
my name is Tracy Lau from Con Ed, New York. You mentioned in Adept Creator that it can trigger publish wave events.
Yes.
Can Adept Reviewer do that as well?
Yes, if it's approve. So in the reviewer, you have the ability to approve or reject a file, and if it's the final approval, that will kick off publish wave. You don't have the ability, though, to do it upon check-in because there's no check-in for the reviewer.
Right.
The check-in is still just Creator for creating new files and checking them in.
Thank you.
Yep. Very
Ryan,
good.
did you have a question? Okay. Got it. Okay, go ahead, sir. Well,
I just wanted to make sure I've got something clear. I want to go back to security.
yes.
You were referring to security within the firewall.
Mhm.
So on the new feature, you guys have imposed or the possibility of encryption internally on the network between, say, server and desktop client. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just
Yep.
wanted to get some clarity on that. That's
Right.
the way I thought I understood it.
Yeah, and thank you for asking that. Let me lean into that a little bit. We would never, for example, recommend that somebody use a desktop client if they're outside the firewall without a VPN active, right? So it would absolutely be possible now to do that. I'm not sure how IT departments will feel about that, but we have common requests for encryption inside the firewall, and that's now supported as well. Okay? Ryan?
Was this gentleman before me? I think you had a mic longer. Why don't you go ahead?
Jacob Hammond, Lansing Board of Water and Light. Unfortunately, we are a few versions behind, but I noticed you had TIFF listed under Publish Wave. We've never been able to publish a TIFF. That's now supported?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yep. It was brought back by popular demand.
TIFF has been in there. What's important to know is that depending on the CAD file type, you may have to include a the PeerNet image TIFF driver, whatever they call that. Some of the CAD applications do output TIFF themselves, in which case we'll use the natural TIFF output of that CAD app. But if they don't, then we would have to use a PeerNet TIFF image printer, I believe it's called.
Thanks, Joe.
That's been in there for several releases now.
Oh.
If it's not working for you, let's talk.
So come on up to 2019, the water's warm. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, so I have two questions. One, I don't remember who mentioned batch update on Creator. What about copy data card?
Also, not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Yep.
My specific question is on SSL. Our implementations of Creator and Explorer are accessible outside the firewall, so SSL is very important to us.
Yeah.
We have struggled with configuration over the
Yes.
last two versions.
Yes.
I know particularly wildcard SSLs have not
Yep.
been supported. Is that something that has changed?
I didn't ask you to ask this question, did I?
No, you didn't.
No, okay. So thank you for asking the question. Wildcard certs are supported, and the hassle with configuration really, deploying it the way you've chosen to deploy it, and it's very cool that you've done that. The configuration hassle has really been around the visualization side, the auto view side, and the fact that it uses a different certificate store and poking another hole through the firewall. With 2019, that goes away. The auto view server uses the same channel that our Adept web client does, and you no longer need a separate cert. It all just kind of piggybacks on 443. It's going to be super easy for you now.
Awesome.
Yep.
Final question.
Thank you.
Tina?
So Teresa Young from Dow Chemical. So I have a question for the Adept Creator 2019. So I'm not sure, collaboration features like importing the metadata from Excel and exporting the metadata to the Excel spreadsheet will be available in the Creator 2019.
It's not in 2019. It's slated for 2020.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. We appreciate your attention, your interest.